I bet when car enthusiasts first saw the Kia Stinger, they thought to themselves, you know what, that looks pretty damn cool, actually, but I couldn't have something with a Kia badge on it. And then proceeded to just buy something with a German badge. Or for those who are watching across the pond in America, just went and bought a Ford or a Dodge. However, the Kia Stinger has now finally come out of its incredibly long manufacturer's warranty. And there is a very particular reason why I believe here in the UK in 2025, the Kia Stinger is about to become a V6 turbocharged bargain. Come on, let's get into it, shall we? My name's Ben. Welcome to Dadcars. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Have you clicked that subscribe button? If not, click it now. So a very brief introduction to the Kia Stinger. These came out in 2017, and it was Kia's way of saying to the world, look, we can do cool cars as well. And here in the UK, they came with 3 engine options: a 2.2 litre diesel, a 2 litre 4-cylinder petrol, and this, the mighty 3.3 litre twin turbocharged V6. And these V6s produce around 365 horsepower, over 500 pound-foot of torque, and all cars came with Kia's own 8-speed automatic transmission. And while in America there was lots more options, including all-wheel drive variants as well, in the UK they're all rear-wheel drive. But all engine options, even the diesel here in the UK, came with impressive performance stats. I mean, I think the diesel claimed to do 0 to 60 in about 7.7 seconds. The 4-cylinder petrol can do it in about 6 seconds, and this in around 4.7 seconds. And I can tell you earlier on today, before the cameras were rolling, before I had my 2-year-old in the back of this car, things can get squirrely in the Stinger, particularly this time of year. The Stinger got a facelift around year 2020, and it came with a lot more goodies and some visual changes. The early Stingers have Maserati Gran Turismo lights that look like a pair of sunglasses, and then the facelift taillights look like Dodge Charger rear taillights. In actual fact, to me, I've always thought that the Stinger kind of looks like a little muscle car, like a little Dodge Charger. What do you think? Now, the Kia Stinger did not sell particularly well here in Europe, here in the UK. Global production numbers of the Kia Stinger was around 140,000 Stingers. But interestingly, in America, and this is where I think the dads over in America who are watching this video right now, why you're probably watching this video, is this sold really well in America. Around half of the production numbers, about 70,000 Stingers, were for the US market. In America, you must have loads of Kia Stingers on the used market at the moment, so lots to choose from. So I can imagine these being a really interesting proposition for you as a dad car, something that's a little bit different to the many other American muscle car options. And this is something which is literally hitting me right now after driving this around for about half an hour, is that this feels closer to a muscle car to me than to like a performance German saloon, because the German saloons are more focused on being fantastic on the Nürburgring, whereas Kia made this to be a GT. That's why they called it the Gran Turismo, because this is more of a GT car. So it's far more muscle car leaning, in my opinion, driving this around right now, than what you might perhaps expect being a performance saloon. And maybe that's part of the reason why they did struggle to sell here in the UK. I think currently on UK roads, there's around 1,100 V6 Kia Stingers at the moment. So it's a tiny number. These are exceptionally rare. But anyway, looks-wise, I think a big thumbs up. There's a few areas that are a bit awkward, like that sort of like rear section where it's kind of got a bit of Jag XJ awkwardness going on. There's some fake vents, mainly the ones on the bonnet, and I think the ones on the back are fake as well, which is a bit naff. But other than that, it's a very cool looking car indeed, and particularly here in the UK where it's so rare, it's a rare sight as well. Oh, and I can't forget to say as well that whoever specs this Stinger was so keen to get hold of their car that they obviously told Kia, as soon as it's primered, can you just deliver the car to me, please? But what about the interior? Well, I'm pleased to say it's actually really nice in here. I am a huge fan, as subscribers know, of analog dials, and you've got a pair of them there that's sandwiching a digital screen in the middle. These seats are lovely and comfortable. They don't hug you when you put it in sport mode like the facelift does, unfortunately, but you do have really good lateral support. You get heated seats in the front and in the back. The nappa leather on these seats is really nice, actually. The infotainment screen does look very naff and dated now. There's a lot of plastic around the outside, but to be fair, if you bought an Aston Martin of the same year as this, you get a pretty plasticky, old-looking infotainment screen in the same position. And I think it is leather here, but I don't think it's leather on the top. The steering wheel feels very nice in the hand. It's very Audi R-esque inspired. But before we get ahead of ourselves, this is the Dadcars channel. So one of the most important things is rear practicality. So let's take a look at the rear practicality now.
Well, the first thing I noticed is just how wide this door opens up, which makes it very easy to get large child seats in and out. Then as you get in the back, I was expecting legroom to be a lot worse than that, but no, that is a decent amount of legroom. Just as well though, because yeah, look, 5'11", long torso, my head is touching the roofline, so I'll have to just slump down ever so slightly, but still plenty of legroom. This is a 5-seater, but you've got 2 sets of Isofix, 2 sets of top tether straps on the back of the seats in the boot as well. And you can switch off the passenger side airbag as well, which opens things up for if you wanted to put a child seat on the front passenger seat. There is no Isofix there though, but the boot is a fantastic usable size. This car's owner's got his buggy in the back there and a few other bits and pieces. But honestly, in my opinion, this boot would give all the practicality a family of 4 would really need day to day. And also in 2017, the Kia Stinger achieved an impressive 5-star NCAP safety rating. Right, before we get back to driving this, I'm going to quickly hop into my Gran Turismo and tell you about something that, because you're watching this video, you can try for free.
Now, I used to always love magazines, but it's been 2013, 10 years since I last bought one for myself. However, I do still buy them for my children because they get drawn in by the cheap plastic things on the front. But for the last month, I have been enjoying an absolutely free trial with Readly, which basically gives you access to thousands of magazines on your phone, tablet and other devices. And because you're watching this right now, you also can try this for free for 2 months. You won't believe it, right? I can't believe that I've got access to all of these magazines and I haven't paid a penny. Look, I've got Auto Express, Autocar, Octane, Men's Health, everything all on here. Look at all these back issues of Octane I've got that I can read. It's amazing. And honestly, I'm loving this so much more than trying to read a news article on some random website where you just get pop-ups and cookies and low quality adverts all over the place. Also, for families, you can have 5 different profiles set up with one account. So you and the whole family can all pick out the things that you like and access it on just the one account. And it's also the latest articles that have been optimized to read on your phone as well, which honestly, this has just been so delightful for me. Look, you can scroll down there and there's not a horrible pop-up advert in sight. And so if you watching this right now would like to try Readly for free for 2 months, all you need to do is click the link in the description below. Simple as that. Or if you're watching this on your TV, just get your phone and scan this QR code. That's it. And you can try it for 2 months. If you don't like it after 2 months, then just stop it. And it won't have cost you a penny. A massive thank you to Readly for sponsoring this video and also for giving me and my family access to all of these high quality publications. Right, now let's get back to the driving. You've no doubt noticed that this particular car has been debadged. And I think the reason for that is that the early Kia Stinger, the pre-facelift ones, they come with the old Kia badge. You know what, I would say in recent years, we have had the best and the worst examples of car manufacturers who have redesigned their badge. Kia being the best example of it. They absolutely nailed it. When you look at the old Kia badge, it makes you think, oh yeah, you know, Kias are a bit naff, aren't they? Whereas when you see the new Kia badge, you think, you know what, actually Kias are pretty damn cool. Whereas the worst example of a recent rebranding of a car badge is obviously Jaguar, where I think they got a dyslexic work experience person to have a crack at changing the logo. I know what a lot of people do is they change these oval badges for the Korean oval badges. In this car, I think the debadging has gone one step too far for me personally. But what is it actually like to drive? Well, the whole time the cameras have been rolling, it has been in comfort. And the reason for that is that, as I said earlier on, before I had my 2-year-old in the back, I was driving this on my own in sport. And the rear wheels were just spinning constantly. Now, it is the time of year as well, because we're filming this, it's very bitterly cold out there, and the roads do feel particularly greasy. But also, when I was on my own, I went around a roundabout, not particularly fast, just briskly, and without even any additional throttle input, I started to go a little bit sideways. It was fine, all completely manageable, but it's worth pointing out that this car is a slippery little so-and-so. And that is why, obviously, I'm taking it so easy now that I do have my 2-year-old in the back. Yeah, it's a shame. I'd love to drive one of these on my own in the summer, because then I'd be able to really sort of like tell you what this little bad boy is like. The overall ride and damping it reminds me of a muscle car. Yeah, it reminds me of, very similar to how Mustangs. There's a bit of spring there, a bit of travel to iron out the creases, but then just an overall firmness that you can feel. But it's certainly refined enough that my little pickle is fast asleep in the back. So if that's what you're worried about, if you're worried about it being too firm for the family, there's your evidence. Okay, yeah, but how much is one going to cost you, both to buy and to run? Well, prices for these early V6 Stingers, well, I saw one this morning on Auto Trader for under £15,000. Now, admittedly, that was quite a high mile car, but I think it's fair to say that around £15,000 now probably does get you into the driving seat of an early V6 Stinger. If you want a facelift V6, it's probably going to be around and from £20,000, which really isn't a lot of money when you consider that, this is still a very modern car with very modern safety, like we said earlier on, with heads-up display and lots of driver assisting aids and all the rest of it. But there's a really interesting point I want to make about this, but I'll leave that all for my summary. Running costs then, what's miles per gallon? Well, I think with mixed driving, you're likely to see around 25 miles per gallon. On a run, it's possible to get around 35 miles per gallon, which, really for a performance car like this, look, if you're somebody who watches the channel, 25 to 35 miles per gallon, that's good. What about servicing? Now, the Stinger, interestingly, if you follow the service plan, these need to be serviced every 6 months or every 6,000 miles. But the good news is if you buy a Kia service pack, so I think if you pay for like 4 services at a time, you can get 4 services for about £1,100, which isn't that bad. But the big and fascinating thing here in the UK about these early V6 Stingers, so this is a 2017, road tax at time of recording, I believe, for this is £190 a year. And they don't make these Stingers anymore, but if they did still make them, and you wanted to buy a brand new one of these in the UK in 2025, because of the new vehicle excess duty rates that are coming into effect April this year, I believe this V6 engine is like 1 category below the top for emissions. So if they did still make these, which they don't, you'd be having to pay nearly £5,000 vehicle excess duty the first year that you bought it. So when you put it like that, the fact that if you bought a 2017 like this, and it only costs you £190, well, you might be starting to realise, like I have, why these still very new, very modern cars with a straightforward petrol V6 engine, why these are potentially even more attractive as a purchase today in 2025 than they were 7 years ago. If you are potentially looking to buy a Stinger, I've got one big piece of advice for you. When you're looking at the cars that are available and you're having a look at the service history, make sure that they have been serviced in line with Kia's recommendation. Make sure they've got stamps for every 6 months. Remember, these cars came with 7-year warranties, so if you're buying one that's any newer than this, you might still have some warranty on it. If something goes wrong, Kia will still honour that warranty, but only if the service plan has been adhered to, only if it's got stamps for every 6 months. If I went to see one and the service history was a bit patchy, even if it's outside of warranty, that's still a Stinger that I would just walk away from, because it indicates that it might have been neglected. Right, before I give you my final thoughts and summarise to you why I think in 2025 the Stinger's even more attractive than ever, I of course need to say a massive thank you to this car's owner, Matt. Now, this is a lovely story, honestly. Only a few days ago, I was just out and about doing some shopping and I walked past a bright orange V6 Kia Stinger. I took a picture of it and put it on my stories on Instagram and said, come on, look how cool these are. Somebody surely got one. Can someone send me a DM? I want to get one of these on for review. By the end of that day, I had the offer from no less than a dozen Kia Stinger owners saying, I've got a Kia Stinger. I'm happy for you to drive it and film it for your channel. A dozen by the end of the day. And so I got to experience firsthand just how positive and lovely and welcoming the Kia Stinger community, owners community is here, at least in the UK. Honestly, thank you all so much, all of you guys. I get the sense that even if you bought like an early diesel, really high mile one, and then you posted a picture in the owners club on Facebook saying, hey guys, I've just bought a Stinger, I'm so excited, I've wanted one of these for ages, I bet that every single reply to that post would be positive. And that's lovely. Honestly, there are many, many other enthusiast cars out there which have got a borderline hostile owners community. And so I want to say thank you once again to Matt, the owner of this car, who is a dad. This is his awesome dad car. Right, so what is my summary then of the Kia Stinger? Now, I think it's a shame that I've driven this car this time of year. So I'm driving this in January. It's bitterly cold out there. And I don't think I can get enough heat in those rear tyres to actually sort of get a sense of what this car is like to drive. But I can imagine it being a hell of a lot of fun. I tell you what though, driving this car in these horrible conditions today, it does remind and highlight to me why I am such a huge fan of a large capacity, naturally aspirated engine. You know, like a dad car with a big naturally aspirated V8 or a V12, because the power delivery is so sort of linear and progressive, means even when it is a bit wet, even when it is a bit cold, you know, you've really got to be punching that accelerator pedal in order to sort of get yourself in a bit of bother. But more broadly speaking, the reason why now I'm so excited about the Kia Stinger 2025 is that cars like this will never be made again, right? I know we've been hearing this for the last 10, 15 years, haven't we? From Top Gear and countless car journalists. Oh, it's the end of an era, the combustion engine, all this sort of stuff. But here in the UK, the new VD rules, the vehicle excess duty rules, coming into effect this year in 2025, which means that basically any petrol car which has got a V6 or above is now going to have a circa £5,000 vehicle excess tax put on it for its first year. And that massive excess tax won't matter for the Lamborghini buyers and all the super rich people, because, you know, if anything, they'll just brag about the fact that, oh yeah, but just had to pay an extra £5,000 VED, haven't I? Whereas it will definitely stop the buying of attainable larger capacity engine cars like this. So you imagine even if this car was still in production, it'd probably be around £45,000 now, you know, list price adjusting for inflation. If you then got to chuck an additional vehicle excess duty tax of £5,000 on a car which costs £45,000, like, no one's going to buy that. And because nobody's going to buy that, no manufacturer is going to make it anymore. So with these Stingers, what you've got is a super modern car with a fantastic NCAP crash safety rating, with all the driver assisting aids, everything that you would want from a modern car, but it's just got a straightforward bread and butter petrol internal combustion engine. There's no hybrid complexity here. And because they were manufactured before the real crackdown here in the UK on road tax, on emissions, you know, at the moment you're paying £190 a year road tax for this. If I had £15,000 to spend on a dad car, would I buy a Stinger? No, I would buy a Maserati Gran Turismo. I did recently buy a Maserati Gran Turismo, but that's just me. I am very strange. I think that there's a lot more dads and petrolhead parents out there who want to have something fun, but they want to carry their children in something modern. The heads-up display, the wireless charging mat, all of the other creature comforts that come along with this still very modern car. These early Kia Stingers right now here in the UK do really feel like a fantastic little loophole where you can get an exciting, proper dad car like this without being absolutely taxed up to the eyeballs. Honestly, I think they are worth you considering. If you're still watching now, I'm going to assume that you have already clicked the subscribe button. If not, I hope you're about to correct that. Take the 2 seconds to just click the subscribe button. If you are already a subscriber, I have just started Dadcars YouTube memberships. So if you wanted to, you could become a member of the Dadcars channel and help support this channel, which I would really, really appreciate. Look, you're never gonna get a hard sell for the memberships from me. Okay, the most important thing is that you subscribe, you like, you comment, share the videos, and most importantly, you watch. Okay, you're never gonna get a hard sell to try and get you to sign up to the memberships as well. But if you wanted to, I would really appreciate it, and I will put some behind the scenes stuff in for the members as well. If you enjoyed this video, I guarantee you will love the review we did on the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. Check this out now. Click this video and I'll see you on the next one.